Hello, everyone. PJ, your mic was off.
Oh my God. Oh, that's funny.
We were all frantically typing messages here. I'm like, oh.
I did the whole thing with my mic off. That's
totally.
Funny. Okay, I was trying to. That's funny. That's great. Thank you. I don't know if you can tell, but I actually said I'm bringing in meteorologist Medio Nicolau.
Hey, that kind of works. I like that.
How are you, Katie?
I'm doing great. I'm enjoying the cold weather as much as someone can who's allergic to the cold. So bring it on, comment section. Tell me how cold it is.
Yes. Is it your fault?
Totally my fault. I've been spamming that enter button, sending Mother Nature emails saying, make it colder, make it snowier, and now it's happened. And I think I just got some backlogged orders all at once.
Wow. What is new with so many fandoms? And by the way, I know there's people who are not subbed to so many fandoms. If you are not, and you're watching this live or watching on the replay, please sub to so many fandoms. There's a lot of really cool stuff on there. It's a very unique channel.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's not the one that has all the anime on it. Mine is the one with the big old red letters that says SMF and has all my fandom forecasts. I do weather forecasts for different fandoms. I'm going to have to do a Dark Matter one now that I think about it. And yeah, just myself and my friend from college and hopefully a few more people eventually whenever we're finally free and our schedules sync up. We do fun podcasts.
Can you go ahead and put in your channel, Katie?
Absolutely.
Thank you. And we'll make sure people have it. And hello, William. And hello, Crazy Eye. Jedi. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome, welcome. And we want to also welcome Nina Infinity, who had a really cool stream the other day.
What's up?
How are you?
I'm good. How's it going?
What was that stream you did the other day? Top 10 movies?
We did top 10 sci-fis with John Talks and Jane Theory, and it was fun. It was fun. I was like physically, going through a really hard time because I had to like omit so many movies from my list, and it was just like the most difficult thing I've ever done. I was actually like having a panic attack. I'm like, no, this list, this one. But yeah, it's great. You guys can check it out on my channel. And on Fridays, I do Infinite Hope, which is good news. So come to my channel on Fridays for good news. Yeah, thank you.
Wow, awesome. And before we move along and bring in Adega and Joe, I just want to take care of something because we were gonna have Gap Stargate join us for a little bit, but in the end he couldn't make it. And I just want to make sure that everybody is following Gap on Twitter because he's about to launch a channel whenever he's ready. I'm not sure exactly when. And Gap, you're most welcome to come and talk about it whenever you're ready. But I want everybody, if you can, to follow Gap Stargate on Twitter. And whenever he is ready, he's going to tell us about his new channel, which is going to be exciting. And of course, Gap has been doing promos that you've seen on Twitter for Dark Matter Mondays, and we are very, very grateful for that. Thank you, my friend Gap. All righty, Dr. Adega Outlaw. Welcome, Dr. Adega Outlaw.
Hello, hello. In the process of moving, so camera is off, but hello to everybody in chat.
It just means we can high five you.
There you go.
Awesome. What's new in Adega world?
Just the things are progressing as you could expect with book stuff, and it doesn't go lightning fast. However, I should in a day or two have another editing video where you could see where I screwed up on a chapter, and it happened to be the one that I did Sunday, and I deliberately left it kind of messy so you could see how things get fixed in my mind. So, but other than that, just finishing packing up the house and getting ready to sail on to newer turf.
Nice.
Excellent.
Yeah.
By the way, PJ, congratulations on your 5K.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you. We hit it a couple.
Oh,
we hit it a couple weeks ago, but it was with flip flops back and forth, and I think we even went under 5K. So I was just going to wait a little bit.
Nice.
No, I totally understand. But yay! I'm just waving the Canadian flag just because this is the only pom pom like thing I have. So I'm like, yay!
I'll wave my degree because that's the only useless thing I have right here.
I'm waving my hand.
Thank you, and I special thanks to all of you and to everybody, and we're gonna do a special stream on it. Thanks to Katie too, because Katie's been with me from like the beginning, and we got to get her channel.
It's been like a year, hasn't it?
It has, and I do want to say a couple words about Joe, about our friend Joseph. When Joe suggested that he might actually join us for Dark Matter Monday. And this is why I have the Star Wars background, the Tatooine background. I said to myself, am I really going to review Mandalorian if Joseph Mallozzi is going to do more Dark Matter Mondays with us? It was a no-brainer. And Joe, it has been such an amazing journey. And like I said in a post today, that I think the four of us pinch each other every once in a while just to make sure that this is real, that we're actually going through Dark Matter with its creator. So thank you, Joseph. Welcome, Joseph Mallozzi.
Wow. Well, thank you. I mean,
there he is.
Thanks for setting this up, PJ. Thank you to the panel for taking part. This has been a lot of fun. We're pretty much halfway through the series, I think, at this point. Yeah.
Now we need a series 4 before we finish.
Yes. So that basically we can continue uninterrupted, so Katie doesn't really break her stride.
Exactly.
Now let's find out what the I don't know how, actually I really don't know how you're doing it, Katie, because like I had to actually go and watch the next episode myself because I wanted to rewatch it. What was your impression of today?
I totally didn't see this episode coming. Like, I never read what the episode's about or look ahead or anything. I just click on it and go from there. And to explore a whole, like, a very good new character, and then Joe does what Joe does best and rips her heart out, But I like introducing a new character and explaining something that's been a mystery so far and actually explaining what happened and why it's that way. So I really liked it. I say that about every episode, but it's true.
Wow. And yeah, this was by the way, Robert C. Cooper wrote this, right, Joe?
Yep. Of Stargate fame. Co-creator of Stargate Atlantis and Stargate Universe, and longtime SG-1 executive producer and showrunner as well. So he wrote the Wendy the Entertainment Robot episode for season 1, and he wrote this one. So basically 2 very different episodes. This one is decidedly one of our darker episods.
So how much?
Definitely.
You guys obviously are close. How much leeway is Robert getting in writing, Joe?
Well, I mean, what often happens is before each season, we gather in the writer's room, and I usually kind of have a good idea of what I want the stories to be, and so we'll essentially spin a story. Meaning, someone will stand up in front of the whiteboard, not me because my handwriting is atrocious, marker in hand, and just mark down ideas for a particular episode, and then we break the episode, meaning we break it down into every scene, what happens in every scene, and then the writer, in this case Rob, went off, wrote an outline based on the beat sheet we'd written on the whiteboard, which is essentially a more fleshed out version of the beat sheet. We gave him notes, and then he goes off and writes the first draft.
Huh.
So cool.
Mm.
I love looking at the behind the scenes of the process because you see the final product and it's amazing how much actually goes into it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of careful plotting and planning, and the writer will usually do 2 drafts, and then I will take over as showrunner once we get into production, just to do a voice pass for the characters, or any last minute tweaks that I have to make if we lose a location, if we lose a guest star, for instance.
And I thought it was really interesting, Joe, that the next episode is written by Lauren Bancroft Wilson, right?
Yes, our visual effects.
That's interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was his first script for the show.
Ooh.
Wow. Oh, next week we get to see that next week.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So we start off the episode, with a little bonding time between Nyx and Four.
Mhm.
And the topic of conversation comes up about, they're talking about their past and about letting the past go. And any thoughts on this on how the scene I'm sorry, on how the episode starts, guys?
I ship them.
I was just gonna say, Katie, have you shipped them yet?
I swear, I have a fleet. I have an armada of ships at this point for this show. But I feel good about this one. I think they could end up together and be somewhat happy.
What's their ship name? Fix?
I like that.
All right.
There we go.
Thanks.
I have a notepad right here. I'm gonna have to write out all the ships and just count them up.
Mhm.
And then just violently cross out the ones that I've just destroyed.
Wow.
There are at least 3 that were involving one, and now.
Sarah says, "Me too, Katie."
Okay, good. I'm not alone.
I shipped them, but I also originally, but I also shipped her and 3 because I was like, is there something going on there? And then she started to spar with 4, and I was like, is there something going on here? Because at first she had something going on with 3, but then nothing panned out.
Oh, interesting. Now, I don't know. I thought this was a really interesting episode. Adega, you as a sci-fi author, do you have any comments on how the episode was written?
Oh, gee, you're gonna put me on the spot when I'm dealing with people who know what they're doing as compared to me. I'm trying to think of it. There was a couple times when I was watching this episode where I realized there were some similarities to other things in sci-fi. And I'm not trying to blow the smoke out of the writer or with Joe, but it comes together much more fluidly and easier than other times. Before the show started, Nina had brought up the Borg. And I'm thinking that one is kind of messy. The Borg has always been messy to me. It's a cool idea, but a little messy. This one and I'd also mentioned there is a lot of science. I've seen research done into similar type things. Of course, we're on the very rudimentary understanding of how the mind works and how it taps into everything that's going on in the universe, where everything from remote viewing to precognition, different things that are showing signs of actually being in existence. And then to have a society that's set in the future to where they're able to understand it better and to utilize it, be able to distinguish certain genes, and then write it into a story where it makes sense. I was really, really happy with it.
Wow, agreed. Yeah. Yeah, Joe, the fact that all of this is based in some kind of science is fascinating.
Yeah, well, that's writing science fiction, so we try to do our best.
What about this question, Joe? And I know actually it seems pretty obvious, but compared to what we were getting lately, it's not that obvious. But anyway, did the Searship use pallets for the walls? They look like plastic pallets. That's Time Prophet.
It's quite possible, yeah. I mean, it would really be a question for Ian Brock, our production designer, because off the top of my head, I don't recall. But he would incorporate anything and everything into the wall to give them, in the floors and the ceilings, to give it texture. So it would not surprise me if we did incorporate, or he did incorporate pallets into the walls.
That's kind of like what I do when I go to the craft store. I just walk into the clearance aisle and go, I could make that into something it was never intended to be, and then buy it. I'm not talking about experience or about the day that I just had, because there's not 2 boxes over here filled with junk.
This inside and outside is one of my favorite ships on the series.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
it reminds me of a Pokemon. Like Beldum. It looked exactly like a Pokemon.
I'm gonna have to look up what's his name?
What?
It's like a Beldum. I gotta look it up now too.
Oh no.
Okay.
We went from good sci-fi to Pokemon.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Wow.
I'll see it.
Yeah, it was
See
Beldum. My nerd card just got an extra punch.
Yeah.
You can put it up to the camera if you want, Katie.
There's a Beldum.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah. Totally looks like that.
Uncanny.
There's a little eyeball and everything. That just
Wow.
vaguely reminded me.
All right. So we see. By the way, before we move on, I just want to ask Joe a question that popped up on Twitter today. Somebody asked Joe on Twitter who his favorite character in Stargate was, and he said Woolsey.
Ooh.
And I just had to ask Joe: Is there any Joe MALLOZZI in the Woolsey character?
I mean, besides an affinity for suits,
That's what I was going to say.
yeah, not really. I mean, I really like the Woolsey character because he was a character who, I mean, I suppose you could say that of all the Atlantis and universe characters as well. But he was a character that really grew and changed quite a bit. And he was also a character who was possessed of a sense of humor. And I kind of always liked those characters, the kind of redeemable characters, those characters who were not the heroes. And also Bob Picardo is a gent and just an incredible pleasure to work with. So for that reason, I would say hands down, Woolsey is my favorite character.
Okay. Sorry for the sidetrack.
Yeah.
And of course, thank you to Jack Beers and to Robert Picardo for that shout out a couple months ago. That was amazing.
Ooh, cool.
Now we see here that Nyx is recalling her experience of escaping from the Seers. And I thought this was a pretty cool start to the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what was our last episode? Episode 205 was, so 205 started with a scene, and then we go back in time and see how things happened. In the original version of the script, this was the opening scene, and then we go forward in time, and Jay Firestone, who's the president of Project Pictures, was like, we can't do this two episodes in a row. So for that reason, it becomes more sort of a flashback that is kind of framed by that initial scene with 4.
My first thought when watching this was, why wouldn't you handcuff, blindfold, just tether everything and just drag slowly across the ground? You don't give her any chance of seeing a premonition. If I were them, I would be paranoid out of my mind with a ship full of soothsayers.
They probably thought she couldn't do anything, right? She wouldn't have the energy to, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, they did a good job in the scene making her look like she's stoned out of her mind, so they probably thought she was still pretty doped up.
Froggy.
Joe, question from Susanna. Would you consider doing a full season 4 and possibly season 5 if the right investor came into picture to give us a proper ending for Dark Matter?
Are you offering?
Exactly. So, Susanna, talk to your friend and tell him or her that I am ready to go, and I'm sure I would be able to sort of gather the cast back for another season or 2.
Excellent.
So when I saw this episode, like Adega was saying, I definitely thought differently. So bonus points on just originality and subverting expectations, because I thought she was going to be some sort of android or
Dew's sister. I so badly wanted her to be Dew's sister.
I figured maybe something like that, but then in that episode they were talking about how she was the only one, so I wasn't sure if this that's going to pan out, because they had a new one, but I didn't think it was going to be her. But I did think android, because of those new androids that have the human personalities and stuff like that, and they're good at computing what you can do before you can kind of do it, kind of thing. But yeah, and then you did this, and I was like, whoa, this is totally different. So bonus points for subverting expectations. It was great.
That's what we try to do throughout the show, is subvert those initial expectations.
That's why I really like this show. Oh, it was good. And then you had the Borg thing, and I was like, oh, this is interesting.
Now, I think. Oh, go ahead, Katie.
Oh no, it was great because it was like the hive mind idea instantly takes you to the Borg because it's so iconic. But the way that they went around and like made the hive mind, it wasn't just like a collective of the Borg where you're assimilated. No, they're just picking up people like, shove you into this. Like that was a really interesting way of looking at it. Like building a collective of people who don't want to be in a collective.
Yeah. Now, actually, that's interesting, Joe, because at the end of the episode, when they're telling her that they might end up converting her brother, there is a point where they're succumbing to the situation, or
essentially over time, the suggestion is that you begin to kind of lose yourself, your individuality. So that is a danger, but he kind of assures her that he'll keep fighting. Does he actually believe it, or is it something he's saying to kind of reassure his sister? That's the question that we're left with before he boards to go back.
I can't help but think in these like collective areas where it's like, oh, you're going to lose your personality, you're going to become like just flat and a part of the bigger hive mind. I would be kicked out of that so fast. I would never be in the military and I'd never be in a hive mind. No one would put up with this.
Joe, Time Prophet asks, and guys, we are going to interview Time Prophet because Time Prophet, there's some amazing models that Time Prophet has done. We're going to interview him at some point. Joseph, did the actors know when the pyrotechnics would go off and how dangerous are they?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, they're not dangerous. I mean, obviously we have professionals who are in charge of ensuring that the set is safe. But they do know, however, there are instances where the pyrotechnic will be a lot louder or may go off sooner. And, once we complete this rewatch, I have seasons 2 and 3 behind the scenes bloopers, and there's a great one with one of the actors. Actually, it's not even in the bloopers, to be honest with you. There's a kind of an explosion on the bridge, and he reacts. The actor reacts. I thought it was so funny that I actually kept it in the cut. So when that episode comes up, I will point it out to you.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
And Joseph, I'm putting up this question because we have seen it. I have personally seen it at least 10 times in the last 10 days.
I even answered this one today on Twitter. Consider doing a Kickstarter to raise money for season 4 of Dark Matter. If there was a realistic chance that we could, gather enough money to make a 4th season on Kickstarter, I would. But there is no way a Kickstarter would allow us to raise enough money to do a 4th season or a mini series, even a movie, to be honest with you, just because it's a sci-fi series. So we would have to rebuild the sets. We're talking visual effects. We'd have to, obviously hiring the actors. So it's a fairly expensive prospect in comparison to any other type of show.
On that note, I am going to ask Joe a question that I've been thinking about for a long time, and it popped up again today. And so, Joe, what about and forgive the fan in me for just beating a dead horse, but why can't Post it? Why can't Post it like sponsor season 4?
We have to kind of work them into a few more episodes, I guess, but I guess highly possible.
But like seriously, what are the? I mean, has anybody in the industry ever, like, I'm sure to some degree, but aggressively, like, imagine like Coca-Cola pops up in every episode from now on.
You got a Nike swoosh on the
Product
water.
placement.
I mean, is that a viable option? Or
I don't really know how much. I mean, it would certainly help offset the cost of a production, but I mean, it certainly wouldn't pay for a production. And then the question becomes, how overt are you going to make this, this product placement? I always find product placements very clunky in shows. I think Eureka did it once in an episode or a couple of episodes.
Seinfeld used to do it all the time. But,
Mhm.
but it was really
Marvel's
smart because it was
notorious.
like written into the show.
Right.
I'm going to throw out a crazy idea. Since you got all these corporations floating around in the future,
Yeah, I was going to say that. The easiest way would be, to make it the evil Coca-Cola Corporation. However, I don't really know, how Coke would feel about that.
Here's the thing: they could you could do a contest where they're like, "Okay, you pay us $3 million, and we'll make Pepsi the bad guy." Then you totally got it.
exactly.
Totally.
Make the competition the bad guy. It's
Or
like
make- or
Apple
make
versus Windows versus Apple. Like, come on, like
Whoever
no.
donates the most will put them in the most episodes, and they make them the worst people.
Or one of these corporations just comes and saves the day and beats all the bad corporations or something.
Yeah, that's a more
Yeah.
amicable
There are no-
solution. But where's the fun in that?
Yeah, there are bad corporations, and then there are less bad corporations. There are no good corporations.
Sorry, Joe. I'm sorry. I had to.
No, it's
I
an
love it.
interesting idea.
I agree with you, Joe, because my wife, and I'll catch every episode, she still watches reruns of, Eureka, Bones, and they always do these car commercials right in the middle of the episode. And it's like, why do you need the money that bad to ruin your show with 2 minutes worth of advertising? It drove me nuts. Still does.
It takes you out of the story.
Yep.
I'll tell you one product placement though that does not screw with me at all: Twister with Jeep. Totally iconic product placement. That is totally.
Oh yeah.
I'm not familiar.
You're talking about the movie. When you said Twister, I thought the game, and I was like,
Oh, I thought you.
Twister
Oh,
with Jeep.
yeah. I was like, what?
Yeah.
No, I thought you were talking about like, the game too. I was like, what?
Twister's an awful game.
I
I play real life Twister.
was
High
like, Jeep did a
stakes.
Twister commercial? What?
Yeah. It is. No, I can't say that. Never mind.
This is an interesting question, Joe. Jeff Beeler asked, would season 4 be sold as such or as a new title? I mean, is that even a possibility?
Out of ourselves because we have yet to get a fourth season set up. I think the prospect of a fourth season is unlikely, but I think a miniseries would be most likely. In which case, if it's a miniseries, then I would title it Dark Matter something miniseries.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Dark
Well,
Matter.
like, isn't it? What is the difference between a mini series and a full season? Like, are you counting like the new seasons that are like, let's say 10 episodes? Like, for example, WandaVision,
That's a season.
10 episodes.
Yeah.
That's a season. So,
Yeah.
like, are you thinking like less than 10, like 8 or 6 or?
Yeah, ideally 8. I could get it done in 6.
Ooh.
Okay.
I just think of miniseries and I think of British TV. So
Mhm.
Yeah, me too. I mean, like, I feel like when you say miniseries, and I immediately think like, V, like the original V, with the spaceships.
Sherlock.
Well, in addition to sort of the shorter length of the series in terms of episodes, I also think in terms of when you say miniseries, you think of something close-ended, and
Right,
it's not to
like,
say that you won't be able to
there's no-
continue afterwards
Yeah, right.
at some point, but less of another season and more of here we're going to wrap everything up, and then if it does insanely well, then maybe there's an opportunity that we can open things up again.
Thank you, Jeff Beeler, for the question and the super chat. And what did you guys think about Zoe's new threads?
I liked it.
Beige. Very
Katie
beige.
is unconvinced.
Just because it's the same color as my walls. I was just like, oh, she's blending in. It's good. Is that like pleather? I think it has a good look to her, but I don't know. I kind of like the steampunk human look.
I liked. I appreciated the style change, because you know how like usually when you get into like those sci-fi's, like all the robots or cyborgs or whatever you want to call them, they're all like dressed in like one thing. And then she's like kind of like experimenting even like outside of that for herself, and she has this suit going on, and I appreciated that because I was like, I like seeing different styles.
Yeah, and it goes to character, the fact that she's establishing her individuality, and she
Yeah.
even says as much about the costume change.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If that was the intent for a mix between her individuality as well as trying to fit in better with the crew as more of an emotional character, I thought it was done really well.
Agreed. Yeah, there's continued growth with the android. Somebody was going to jump in and say something. I cut them off. No. Okay. And thank you, John Burns, for the super chat. On Friday, you responded to the rumor of Disney being MGM, being bought by MGM. Does that mean that they own the rights to Stargate? How about Stargate? Would you have any real independence within Disney?
Well, this is a reference to the rumor that Disney was going to buy MGM. And yes, MGM owns Stargate. So if Disney bought MGM, they would own Stargate. Dark Matter is owned by neither MGM nor Disney. So not part of the conversation. And would you have any real independence within Disney? I don't know. I mean, I think you only have as much independence as they allow you to have, but that's the case with any studio.
Yeah, we could get a Stargate theme park now. How cool would that be? That'd be awesome.
That'd be amazing.
Wow. That would be
There
amazing.
were rumors a while ago, like in Spain, they were going to build a Star Trek theme park, and I saw some of the mock-ups. I don't care if it was fake; it looked beautiful. So any sort of like sci-fi theme park, I'm going to be going.
I'm surprised that they haven't made one.
Yeah, well, they had the Star Trek Las Vegas ride at the Westgate. I went into the corpse of that ride. They converted it into a gift shop, and I almost cried. It was still like the holodeck and everything, and you're just like, why? We need more nerdy theme parks.
I agree.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I agree.
That's a good fundraiser.
Yeah, there you go. Build a
Um,
nerdy theme park to fund Dark Matter miniseries. Boom.
John Burns, thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it. Thank you, John Burns. Thank you so much. And John Burns, if you ever want to plug a channel or anything, I've said it before. Please let me know. Thank you, John.
Just speaking of like the Star Trek The Experience, I remember I went to that years ago.
You did?
Yes, I love the Star Trek The Experience. And the Borg thing was like the best because I was like always so freaked out about the Borg. That's why I like this episode so much because the Borg freaked me out. Like it was one of those things where like that hive mind idea like freaks me out. And like I used to like when I was younger, like I used to like have nightmares about being chased by the Borg. And they had that in Star Trek The Experience, and I literally was like screaming and running, like it's not real. I was like, like, it was just like, and I was like, it was so funny, but like it was great. It was such a good experience. It was so good. It was so good. And they did the whole beaming thing and everything. It was perfect.
So cool. This chick scares me. I don't know why.
Alicia Renault.
That makeup on fleek, just someone like that has to be in a position of power. So I'm worried.
Women in power can be scary.
Boom.
Joe, Time Prophet asks, I think this is far-fetched, but if Time Prophet asks if Disney bought Dark Matter, would you be adverse to letting Baby Yoda on the Raza?
Oh, absolutely.
I could see 3 punting him through an airlock.
Absolutely, I would be averse. I'm not such a not such a fan of like the cute baby things. Like Baby Groot for me is like the worst part of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh my God, I love Baby Groot, but at the same time, I love that you said that because most people would be like, yeah, of course, like Disney, yay, and like Star Wars, yay, and you're like, no.
Not a chance.
Oh, that was good.
We can take a few more questions from the chat today because we don't have a guest. What is the Dark Matter's relationship with Funimation? Are you familiar, Joe?
Just the DVD, and Blu-rays, as Jeff mentioned. They were part of the video deal.
I've totally been getting more into DVDs recently, and I don't know why. I think I'm afraid of losing streaming services because they've all switched the rights so much that I've been hoarding DVDs for no good reason.
That's understandable. And Joe, you really did a good job, and so did Roger Cross about looking very uncomfortable in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that always kind of drove me nuts about not only shows but also like comic books is when a character does something egregious and is on the outs with the other characters. It's usually like an episode or two, and then everything's back to normal. And I wanted this to be a process if we ever get there. So I'm not going to spoil it for Katie.
Okay.
So he's still, I mean, basically we're 6 episodes in, and he's still very much an outsider. And yet, 2 has kind of stepped up for him. 5 has clearly forgiven him. 3 has obviously not, but you still kind of see a begrudging step in that direction. And that's what 4, you never know what he's thinking. So
I have a question about that actually. Katie, what have you forgiven him yet?
Yes. I have, because the dude, he thought he was doing what was right. He thought maybe, everything would be like he was in the right originally, so he's turning in these bad guys, but then he finds out his whole world was flipped upside down twice because of the memory wipe and everyone lying to him. So if I were him, I probably would have done the same thing and then just been like, okay, just drop me off at a way station. I don't want to mess with you guys anymore.
Well, it fits more than real life. If you had somebody that had offended you or a group of people that everyone's going to respond differently. And those people who, even if it's a slight offense, will never forgive somebody. Mm-hmm. So playing through it on this show, it's like you said, Joe, it makes it more believable.
Yeah, it's interesting for me because I am like a huge grudge holder. I will admit this. I don't know if it's maybe the Italian temper, but it's something that like a friend of mine noted. It's like, if you steal Joe's pencil in grade 4, he will, find a way to get back at you later in life. Not necessarily true, but maybe, like I said, maybe it is the Italian thing. I'm a bit of a grudge holder, so I have an affinity for 3 very much with regards to sort of, his outlook here.
That's so funny because I feel the same way about my Persian side because Persians hold a grudge. So I feel like I have that affinity with 3 as well because I'm like, I'm not over this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm Scottish, so if anyone can hold a grudge.
Now, that was a 2-part question, Katie. What did you think of how, I'm sorry, what was Nix's brother's name again?
Milo.
Thank you. How Milo said that somebody's going to betray someone on the ship again.
I think it's the nurse because so far he's just addicted to stuff, which isn't bad. He's something he has to work through, but at the moment he isn't hurting anyone. So I think something's going to go screwy with him to make me not like him because that happens to everyone on this show apparently. And I think it's going to be the nurse.
Intriguing.
There you go.
Let's file this one away.
Okay.
Maybe we're going to find out sooner than later.
Slip of paper in big bold words. Nursed, circled, question mark. There we go.
He's also known as Devin in some
Devin.
Circles. Yes.
Nurse
At some point, I want to do highlights from our conversations. So hopefully some of these will come up again. Joe, thank you, John Burns. Joe, I think he's referring to the miniseries. So is this 8, 90, or 120-minute episodes?
No, there would be 8 60-minute episodes.
Okay.
Thank you, John, for the question. Yeah.
Well, this is the first time.
60 minutes.
This is the first time I commiserate with Katie when it comes in regards to killing off characters. Most of the time, it disappointed, but it makes sense. But I really wanted Milo to stay around. I really liked him.
You know,
yeah.
No, go ahead, Joseph, please.
No, I was just going to say, and Empo is a great actor as well. In fact, actually, two really great performances in this show. Empo and Daniel Fathers, who played the leader of the what do we call it? The Seers? The leader of the Seers. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing though, because I remember, like when I was watching it the first time, I like immediately got the fact that basically there was another choice, like especially when Four like stuck that knife in the apple. I was like, that's a really interesting scene because the way he did it, it was like you do have other choices, like you can just off and then and you'll be fine. Like there's like and we'll be fine because you won't be around anymore. And so I kind of saw it coming. Like it wasn't like one of those things that. It wasn't as shocking as the premise of the episode, like the premise of them being part of this mind thing. Because like what it was, because you've already established the universe. So you've already established like, you have, cloning, you have, FTL, you have this, you have that, you have the corporation wars. And then you throw in this group and then you're like, it's just this, it was very new, very like, wow. Whereas in that one, you actually foreshadowed in the episode. So I wasn't as shocked when he.
Well, let me ask you then, out of curiosity to all of you, and each of you in turn, what were your feelings? How do you feel about Four in this episode?
Do you really want to know my feelings?
Well, let's start with
Genius.
Katie because she's.
I didn't like it. I thought he would have at least given him an explosive to take everyone else out. That was just my opinion, but I don't like it. He seems so moody. Like he's the moody teenager who doesn't have the fun in this episode. I like it when he's a little bit more lax and funny and a little more loose, but I can see why he wasn't. Especially when you think about the back, like what must be grinding on his gears in the mind. Like, could this dude help me get my whole life back and protect my planet? I'm like, okay, it makes sense, but he just seemed too meh.
See, I saw him as a master chess player at this. He saw the moves ahead of time, way ahead of time, and that's why he came in with the apple. He already had figured out there was multiple issues that were going to come up, and the most likely one was that this guy was going to have to do something drastic. In my mind as well, I'm not going to give anything away, but he's also planning future events to make sure that they work out the way he wants them to. So, like I said, I saw him as a master chess player in this episode.
Interesting.
I saw that too, Adega, and I saw basically that at the time, not knowing anything, I was like, well, I thought that he was doing kind of like a mercy thing because in the, it really like you said, Adega, he really wants his empire back and stuff like that. So like, that's one of like his true goals is that. So you can tell that that's kind of like, he's kind of seeing that chess match is coming through because he's seeing that this guy could be a problem. Like this group could pose a problem because I can't foresee what they'll do. And if they can see what I do, and this guy's like their strongest player here, then if he, offs himself, then maybe they won't be as strong. But at the same time, like he doesn't want to kill him because, he doesn't want to come off as a total asshole if he wants, to nix. And at the same time, he may pity the guy a little bit because like he may feel like, this guy's like stuck in such a, rock and a hard place that he can't really do anything except for this. And that's like kind of like a mercy thing. Like you have a choice instead of going back into this drug-induced vision, scenario where you're basically a slave to this group. You can just, say bye.
But then again, that's also assuming that there was only the three options: stay, go back into the group, or kill himself.
Right.
But the knife could have meant all kinds of different things. He could have killed somebody else.
Yeah,
he could have destroyed equipment. There's a lot of different
vote
options.
for explosion.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they could have like picked up the explosive though, whereas in the knife is like you're not really
Yeah.
checking for knives at that point. Whereas in the
I see a
computer-
great duality in 4. Like I think he's capable of anything at this point.
Part
yeah.
of me really wants to know if 4 has a soft side, because we've seen that with 3. I mean, 5 is just the kind person. 2 has like that vulnerable side. I want to know if 4, like if a baby sea otter comes limping up and asking for help, will he take pity on a small animal? Like, is that his niche? I don't know, but I want to know.
Well,
if
you
this
do
is
see
his soft
instances
side.
like in that flashback where 5, they find her as a stowaway on board, and they're like, "What are we going to do with her?" And 2 and 3 are like, "Get rid of her," and 6 and 1 are like, "Let's keep her." And basically, the deciding vote gets cast by 4, and surprisingly, he lets her stay.
But was that more of a it's okay, or a we could use her?
Well, he also came from half of his life helping his half brother as well.
Mhm.
True. Okay.
Darius Munchausen, I want to thank you for the super sticker, the popcorn super sticker. Very cool. Thank you for your support, my friend. Thank you, Darius. And I just want to put up Dave Mattingly's comment. Dark Matter theme park idea. You enter the park and have no idea who you are.
That would be amazing.
You get a card and you say, "Here's your name. Welcome to the role play," and it is like the world's largest LARP. It's incredible.
And where is he? And John Burns. Thank you, John Burns, again for the super chat. What Joe's new Dark Matter channel? 24 hours of Dark Matter TV and Dark Matter movie series. Dark Matter.
Excellent.
It's like Back to the Future with Jaws. Just keep making them.
A Dark Matter channel. Is there enough content there, Joe?
Yeah, if you just kind of repeat the same episodes over and over again, absolutely.
You can get a couple of days out of that easily.
Wow. Okay, so Joe liked that, John. Thank you, John. Thank you, John Burns. And Jeff Beeler says this was my favorite of the episode. My favorite part of the episode. The churn is coming, corporate war, but the crew of the Raza have a role to play.
I like that there's the corporate war brought up, because it's been in the back of my mind since the corporations they're fighting, it looks like. And I don't know, a war with the Raza as a big part of it. That's intriguing to me, and how it's all coming together. Like some shows, they're just like, oh, hey, all of a sudden here's a war, without building up to it. This has been building up since season 1. So I'm excited to see, will it happen in season 2 or is it season 3? Will it happen at all? I don't want to know. Never mind.
All right. Consider yourselves uninformed.
Fantastic. Just like every day.
And Nate adds to our conversation, 4 was very cold and calculating in this episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And guys, I want to just remind everybody, those of you who are trusted viewers, have a wrench, please put in your channels. Please sub to each other. We grow together, guys. Nate, you have a channel. Please put it in. And don't forget to sub, of course, to Nina Infinity, Kateorologist. And
I love that.
I got all dyslexic, and now I discovered a brand new word. It's awesome.
I'm gonna make that into a T-shirt, I think.
And thank you, Elihu. Thank you guys for the generosity. I know you guys. I know this is because of the 5K Latchcomb that we're going to have on Wednesday, probably Wednesday. And thank you guys for. I wanted to thank everybody in the chat, especially those of you like Elihu who've been with us for the whole year and a half that we've existed. Thank you guys. Thank you, Awesome Sauce panel. PJ, yeah, thank you. It is an awesome sauce panel. Okay, here we go. Now they board the ship, and what did you guys? Now it's understandable. She's not really letting them. I mean, she's not lying to them that they're not going to get the drugs, right? But she forgot to say this little important piece of information.
Omits like a really big piece of information.
It's always better to ask forgiveness than permission.
That's very
Boom.
true. That is so true.
That's probably one of the worst lessons you can learn early on in life. 2 doesn't seem like she would have let them go and get the brother if she had told her. I don't know. Maybe. This whole episode throws the whole "are you predictable or not" on its head.
Mhm.
Oh, Joe, I did want to ask you one thing. What I've noticed one thing about Dark Matter, and I wonder if it was like this when it first aired. When it first aired, was there ever next time at the end of the episode? Was there a next time on Dark Matter?
Yes.
There was.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
I always end before that.
Yeah. We always do the previously on, and we always did the next on Dark Matter.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Question for you, Joe. I don't know if you have the answer. You probably do, but I noticed that Nyx was totally dressed different than what she normally was for the incursion into the ship. Was there a reason behind that? Because she looked almost formal.
Yeah, no, it was more sort of our costume department wanted to sort of, I guess, give the characters a wider range of outfits. It made sense for the android to do a costume change. So we were going to get it done at some point during the season. I just thought that this episode would be perfect because she's just coming off the upgrade, the experience. So she's kind of like, feeling very, you wanted to show off her individuality. In the case of Nyx, I think it's more a matter of, they have made a bit of money. She's kind of expanded her wardrobe a little bit here. And it's just, at the end of the day, just kind of a cooler looking outfit than what she's been wearing up to this point.
Yeah, out of prison, get some new digs,
In response to this, Alex Millar Jr. is probably the actors who's most different from his character. He's a real joker, very lively, very unpsychotic, delightful. I would like to get him here on the panel, hopefully in a few episodes.
Ooh.
Yeah. He must have loved playing the part then.
He did. I remember he was actually very excited about it when he landed the role. I think he was working at like a gym. When he landed the role, and it was like a big deal for him. And now he's doing he posted some shots from the movie he's doing with Ryan Reynolds now. So
nice.
There he is, all buff.
Nice.
Yeah.
He just posted this today. It said manifesting. It was the subtitle for the picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is a fit guy.
I will never have muscles like that in my life. You know what I did for Valentine's Day? I ate a whole chocolate fudge cake by myself.
Oh,
never
lucky.
having a body like that.
Whoa, Katie, calm down, girl. That's called diabetes.
You know what? And I had another chocolate fudge cake the week before because there's nothing to do here.
Oh no.
So, I might
We've
be
all
losing
done
my
that.
mind.
We've all done that at some point, Katie.
That's true.
The store ran out of chocolate cakes, so I'm going on a diet this week.
There was a
I
thing.
used to live in Canada. I used to every summer. And Joe, you know this because they come out with the most delicious blueberry pies ever.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge fan.
I would eat whole blueberry pies.
Oh,
it was so good.
I want that now.
Kind of
So
a
where were we?
side
He's
story.
ripped.
On Saturdays, I used to bring donuts to the office. There's a whole reason why, but people would say, well, this is supposed to be a healthy place. Why are you bringing donuts to a healthful office? And I said, oh, there's no calories in these. The problem is you eat 2 meals afterwards. If you don't eat those meals, you'll be good.
Yeah, just
There you go.
It's the same with the fudge cake. Just skip the next few meals. You'll be all right.
is not too hard when you're not a good cook, so I'll tell you that.
Joe, jumping ahead to the question that Jeff poses, thank you for the super chat, Jeff. Was the apple imagery intentional, Garden of Eden?
No. I mean, the Garden of Eden suggestion is very far removed from sort of the intent of kind of this scene. This scene is just kind of very subtly. The apple is a vehicle for the weapon to be left there, unsubtly left behind.
You say unsubtly, but I totally didn't pick up on it until Nina said something.
Now here, Joe.
Well, if you rewatch it, you'll knowing sort of what it's very interesting that basically he only takes a slice and he's like, "Here, I'll leave the rest for you."
It's the way that the knife was placed.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, like, here, I'll leave the rest for you, and just leaves the apple, walks out. He stuck the knife in there, like top wise. Like he didn't even like leave it on the counter. He was like, here you go.
I occasionally do that if I'm cutting up an apple and I have to go answer the phone or something. I will just jab the knife in the apple and set it on the board. So this, am I doing apples wrong?
Joe, I actually thought this was very ingenious because it seems like 4 is really thinking things out in his head, and he's providing an alternate possibility, right? With this. And here you see Milo. Am I right? Are we right in the rewatch thinking that Milo is seeing a potential future, looking at the knife?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because he gazes at the knife while he's finishing talking to 4, and it's like.
And I love the wardrobe choice for the costume. The white perfectly shows that blood in the most gruesome way.
This is one of my favorite scenes in the whole episode, though.
Yeah.
They're both thinking really hard, and it's all future events.
One of my favorite scenes in the episode was when the 2 and 4 and 3 are talking about them, like in the outside, and they're like, "What the hell, 2? Like, why didn't you tell us?" And like, whatever. And and she's like, "Well, like, we'll drop them off at the next station. We'll give them their cut, and they can leave." And then 3's like, I agree with everything you said except for giving them their cut because they're liars. And then 4 is just like, well, then maybe you shouldn't take your cut. And he's like, I haven't lied.
Oh yeah,
Recently.
that was great.
That was really good.
Very relatable.
Guy Linda says, I don't hold a grudge. I nurture it, feed it, let it grow, or so I was once told. And Jeff Beeler says, I read the Dark Matter comic book last week. I really like how casting the roles enhanced the characters, especially 2, 3, 4, and 5, plus the android, of course.
Yeah, I think the android is really the most different of the characters from the comic book. But they're all pretty different. I think the one who's actually the most similar is 2.
I'm gonna have to go back and find the comic book.
Nate Knows Review says Katie must be a serial killer.
Well, there's nothing to do here.
Serial killer
Except kill people.
There's no people out here, so.
I do it too, though. It feels good to like stab an apple. Yeah, it's weird.
Why is it just us 2 girls? You guys do anything else like that? Join the sociopath club.
Joe, we have some really beautiful shots of the external shots in this episode. Nice shots of the Raza.
Yeah,
I gotta say the Raza is a really cool ship, Joe. The more we see of it.
Yeah, I mean, again, Bartol Rendelik was the concept artist, but visual effects supervisor Lauren Bancroft Wilson and his team did a spectacular job just bringing it to life. And I mean, there's a lot of fun visual effects shots in this particular episode.
I was so happy when you see the Marauder just pop out, and I'm like, oh, it's a buddy. Like they're gonna have a buddy adventure. And I really like that, 3 and 6 finally get to talk too while this whole battle's going on. Just, all right, you want to have our own squabble?
That was my other favorite part when he's like, "Do you ever tired of being wrong?" That was like the best one. It reminded me of like that Michael Scott scene in The Office where he's like, "Why are you the way that you are?"
You are. Yes. Oh gosh.
It was so good. So
Yeah,
funny.
I apologize
Solid.
for this episode. I mean, every other episode I had behind the scenes photos for, but this episode, just because I was heavy into prep for next week's episode, I didn't really get a chance to be on set for this one.
Oh, wait. Is next week's episode going to destroy me?
I don't know. I don't really know what you'll respond to and what you won't respond to.
The ending of the series will destroy you. That's what's going to destroy you.
So you're telling me don't wear makeup when watching it, talking about it, anything like that.
And don't have anything near you that you can throw.
Yeah, don't have anything near you that you can throw. That's way better.
I have a Dremel tool right next to me, followed up by my axe. So I should probably remove those from the apartment.
Well, did you say you had a stain when you had a stain on your couch when one died?
Oh my gosh, the fettuccine Alfredo just dropped. It is still on. It is. Oh, I will forever remember that. And so will every guest who comes to my house.
John Burns, thank you. I understand, Katie. I'm isolated due to pneumonia, so I know about nothing else to do. Oh, feel better, John.
Feel better, John.
Feel better. And thanks for the super chat and feel better. Get better soon.
Think fenugreek for your lungs.
Yes, fenugreek is great.
What is fenugreek?
It's an herb. If you ever go to a Chinese, especially Americanized Chinese, but you go to like a Chinese shop where they sell all kinds of imports food-wise, you'll notice the smell. You'll recognize it from Chinese food.
You
But
can even get it in like pill form though now.
Yep.
Like balances out your hormones. It's really good for you.
And it helps your lungs significantly.
Eat a ton of Chinese food, it works the same.
Hey, my ex is Chinese, and I remember her mother always used to sort of, cook, and she'd always say, "It's good for your lungs."
Yep.
And it seems as though there's a lot that's good for your lungs in Chinese cooking. Is that?
Certain parts of it, but it is a very, very. I think it's even in 5-spice. It's one of the ingredients. China has a different name for it, I believe, but and sometimes you can even find it if you got a grocery store that has an inclusive enough herb section. You might find it as well. Once you smell it, you'll know exactly what it is.
It's used in Persian food too. Like we use it a lot. We use it a lot in some of our dishes and Mediterranean dishes and stuff.
Susanna asked, Joe, I have Dark Matter digital, but can't find a comic book print. Where can I buy a comic book print?
I wonder if you can order it from Dark Horse Comics.
Nice.
You can still
Check
order
with your local comic book
I
store.
think so.
Okay. Cool. Wow. Okay, and Joe, this is really cool because you could actually see them talking in the from the exterior. I thought this was really cool effects.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This picture doesn't do it justice, but
Right.
No, I really like that scene too.
It looks like a smiling tadpole right there. Like the windscreens are the eyes. There's a little bit of a smile on the bottom.
I was almost hoping a little bit like that they would have to go outside and like
in the acid rain.
Yeah, like
Kill my favorite characters.
stuff like and like so you can kind of like maybe like it would be one of those things where that like 3 helps 6 with something like and he's like injured because it's very like rough outside, so it's like one of those. That's how he's gonna like earn his trust by like saving his life or something like that, or I don't know. but
See, I took it in the.
you probably had budgeting issues. You couldn't.
Well, it was budgeting issues, it's time issues, and also I didn't want to sort of, again, like I said, I don't want to make this redemption happen kind of overnight.
Right.
And if you know, this is just one tiny step towards a potential sort of, you know, relaxing of this, you know.
Part of me really wanted them to do like a middle school lunchroom fight. Like, okay, bro, you want to go, bro? Okay, bro. And then they like wham on each other. And then, we good, bro? Yeah, we're good.
Don't you just love the way two used to team up like 1 and 3, and now she teams up like the 3 and 6 for like therapy.
Yeah.
She's like mom.
She is like,
Yes, very much.
Is that the way you thought of her when you were writing, Joe?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. Absolutely. She's the mother of the group who's constantly, furtively working to keep the family together.
Somebody has to keep those boys.
Mm-hmm.
She was actually very understanding after she finds out about the whole Milo when they get back to the ship about the brother.
Mhm.
I wonder, still think she has a sibling out there. I wonder if that's what makes her compassionate.
She's certainly sympathetic.
So, Joe, like when in those episodes where she got her memory back, she was very, very different.
Yes.
It was very striking, the difference.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, she hasn't been, I guess, softened by the experience of really having 5 on board and 5 acting as really a conduit and allowing her to kind of open up to the others. So basically, she's not weighed down by the past, by, you know, the kind of that shield that she puts up as Rebecca, her original self.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, at the end of the day, this is what the series is about. Thematically, you know, are you born bad? Are you a product of your environment? How does the past inform who you are? And if you don't have the past, you know, how different could you be? And in her case, very different. And it's something that we explore over and over again over the course of the season. And as we near the end of this season, very much so.
Joe, if we ever get too nerdy and too nitpicky, just let us know.
Oh, please.
Can I just say that Nurse really pisses me off?
Devin.
Hey now.
Yeah, Devin.
Why?
I just like this whole drug phase thing. I'm just like, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't like that side story, Joseph. I was just like seriously, this guy's a drug addict. Like, can we just bust him so that, like, you know, he can either get off the ship or like.
But he's not. His drug habit has not affected the rest of the crew adversely.
But he's a liability.
I actually think I know. Nina, I actually think I know where you're coming from on this. Is it does your, because I felt a little bit like that. Are you coming from this from the fact that, like, for example, in New Trek, a lot of us had talked about how there shouldn't be addiction in that time period?
Not necessarily, because some people can be addicted to certain things, especially in like dystopian societies. Like even this, like, you know, this other drug that you guys just introduced in this episode. Like I could see that, because, you know, there's always going to be that you know, that crowd that wants to get away, and there's always trauma that, you know, people need to, you know, do that for, right? Whereas in Star Trek, it's a little different, because in Star Trek, you're talking about a hopeful universe where we've gotten rid of certain things. So we've come that much further ahead. Dark Matter's universe is a little different. It's darker, it's grittier. Like, so you can see that there's gonna be that aspect to it. I just didn't like his side. Like, I just didn't like his side story because I felt like it wasn't adding anything except like he's a liability. And I was just like, okay, is something going to happen? Like, I was just kind of like getting impatient with him. Like, okay, either do something or stop doing drugs, because this is like weird now. And then when Five almost caught him, I was like, yes, she caught him. And then I was like, oh, she didn't. Because I was like, oh, is he going to like, you know, she probably is cluing in now though, because she's not stupid. So she's like, because she gave him that look, like, that's not what I was thinking. Like when he was like, well, it's not like you guys don't have like a million other ones that you're gonna get your money for, right? And she's just like, that's not what I was thinking, but okay, like she's not stupid. So I feel like she probably kind of like, you know, caught a hint on that. But yeah, I was just kind of like, I just thought it was a little bit much.
I don't know, the high functioning addict sort of just persona. Think of people who have to have 5 cups of coffee a day every hour, sort of a thing. Like, without that, you'd be pretty messed up. So that's kind of how I drew an equivalent to like current times with it. Just like, okay, he can function with it. It's probably not that great if you have that much and that often. But I don't know. I've just been drawing parallels, and I'm okay with it.
Did you want to say something, Joe?
No. I'm just looking at the question. Why do you think Nyx couldn't foresee her people turning up if she had these powers? You kind of misconstrue her abilities. I mean, her abilities are very small scale, usually with regard to combat. You know, she can, kind of guess an opponent's moves, but she's not always correct. She's correct most of the time, which is what makes her a good fighter. She's not like a precog who can basically predict the future. Whereas basically Milo is a little, is more powerful and sort of more wide ranging in that respect. But even he, I mean, it comes down to, probabilities rather than, a specific predictive ability.
My question about Nyx actually came more from the fact of like, how did she learn how to fight so well if she was one of those people that was just kind of like standing in that thing and, like she wasn't really trained. So is she trained in the hive mind? Like, I didn't really understand how.
She had like a life before she was abducted, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were like abducted when they were kids.
No, not all of them. They said that the ship essentially harvests harvests people. So basically,
okay.
Katie, in the 80s, they had a Nerf brick that you could throw at your TV. I isolated for 3 weeks, but I'm healthy now. Thanks.
Hey, yeah, I've told you guys about my Nerf incident, right?
I think so.
Okay, well, basically, not too many years ago, I should have been old enough to realize, my brother and I were messing around with our old Nerf guns in the basement, and I turned a blind corner. It was right there, and it was a souped-up Nerf gun. It was the one that came with the Wii that was super overpowered, and it shot me right in between the bone and my eye, and it popped a hole in my retina. And I now have a blind spot on the inner side of my eye. It's basically like my nose is Marsha Brady, and it's 2 times as wide as it should be in this eye. And to quote the doctor who gave me the laser eye surgery, quote, "We're going to seal this up like a manhole cover." And it felt like it. So I will Nerf, anytime I see Nerf, I'm like, huh, and just flashbacks. I still have all my Nerf stuff and everything, though. It's fun. I just don't know where my glasses.
Wow. I do remember that story now, Katie.
I thought you took a Nerf gun to your TV when you said.
Yeah, I took a pen to the TV, but that's a whole nother story. No one knows.
And thank you. We're glad you were feeling better, John.
Yeah, definitely.
This is fascinating. We find out more about Katie's backstory in this episode.
Oh, you would need a franchise.
I bet you couldn't write Katie. Nobody could write Katie.
No, totally unpredictable.
She's very much like 2 in that sense.
Ta-da!
So what do you guys now this is where they have another moment alone, and he says there are possibilities. There's an alternate possibility to Milo. Did anybody think it was going to be that alternate possibility?
Yeah, I did. because of that
He did?
last scene. Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was going to be perfectly fine. He was going to go back, and then a couple episodes later, oh look, he's still alive. Let's bring him back on. Like
I thought
couldn't expect
several.
him to be offed.
I thought several possibilities. One, that kill yourself. Two, kill yourself while you kill other people. Like kind of what it
Explosion.
Kind of like what Adega said, or like Katie said. Like take like this bomb and go there and kill everybody, and then you'll be fine. And this won't be a problem anymore.
If the YouTube moderators are listening right now,
Lesson here is if 4 gives you a suggestion with a serious face, more often than not, it leads to blood.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it had something to do with killing him, like that, like him, like kill yourself, but more like the, suicide bomber kind of thing, maybe. Like just take everybody out at the same time. Would have been more effective.
And you guys, I see you guys have been talking about pain medication and addiction in the chat. And John Burns, thanks again for your support. It's John. Brett Favre throwing interceptions were a bigger liability in his addiction to pain medication.
oh no.
Interesting.
Oh no.
Well, in Star Trek, they did
Interesting, John.
one of the most interesting addiction or addicted characters to me was in Star Trek Voyager. Actually, Star Trek TNG, it started with Barclay and how he had hollow addiction. And that was really interesting to me because it wasn't so much like a drug, like you're not taking it, in the vein or anything, but it's like this idea of wanting to have something that you can't have. Like if you're like a completely antisocial person and you're going into, the holodeck and you're having friends in a different life, that you can become addicted to that.
It's a gaming addiction, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. I read this book that sadly I don't remember the title, but it talked about addiction and how the mind is hardwired to become addictive, and how certain games and social media platforms addict you. And they're talking about the fact that in California there are specific set addiction centers for people who are addicted to specifically World of Warcraft.
Wow.
World of Warcraft.
Wow, really?
Which I thought was crazy, but apparently true.
Yeah, because I used to play World of Warcraft a long time ago, but I knew like there was a definite problem with that game because there was like times where people like wouldn't go eat or like use the bathroom or like they literally would just get sucked into that world. I read a few articles about like how some people forgot to feed their kids and they died, and it was just it's really, really bad. Like it's a crazy addiction.
Well, PJ knows this as well as I do, coming from his background, that the brain, contrary to what most people understand, it isn't stagnant. It's actually fluidic. It's pliable, and it can be trained to certain pathways. The cells can adapt to certain stimuli. And if you repeat the stimuli over and over, the brain, in order to function normally, has to have those certain stimuli repeated in order for it to feel normalcy. And so you get not only a physical chemical addiction, but you also get a neurological addiction. And that's where you're talking about the World of Warcraft. They start off with escapism, where the brain actually starts to sense it, maybe not consciously, but as a part of reality that has to be fed constantly. And it can become quite debilitating.
By the way, you guys, if any of you haven't seen that Orville episode in season 2, where Gordon has his cell phone girlfriend, his holodeck girlfriend.
Love that episode.
Yeah. Oh, that was such a good episode.
But the holodeck girlfriend is based on a real live person. It's a very interesting episode. Just check it out if you haven't. And we're going to start hitting up Orville during midweek pretty soon, because we're going to be getting Orville probably, I would hope, in the summer. So we want to start touching upon some of the episodes. Here we go. And we see here this meeting between Five and Nix introduces Five to Milo.
Joseph, I'm sorry, but you watched the Orville, right?
I do not. I
Yes.
should. I know.
He hasn't
I
had
think
time
you'd
yet.
get a kick
He's-
out of it.
I think you would
Yes,
like
thanks.
it, Joseph.
Yeah, no. Tonally, I think it would be perfect.
Check it out.
So do they get to choose the imagery on their walls, like in the I guess fake windows?
Well, our production
Well,
team
yeah.
chooses the imagery, but it's kind of suited to each character. So in the case of 3, he's got the gun rack. In the case of 4, he's got the sword rack. And then a couple of other. I don't remember who else has the actual images in their room.
Because I love the one in the background that looks like a storm over the Grand Canyon, but I could be mistaken. I don't know every storm, sadly.
It's interesting, sort of the stuff, the kind of stuff that you pick up on.
It's ADHD.
I really like the dialogue here too, especially what Milo was saying about that one person having kind of like the, that I guess butterfly effect to change everything like that, that a small group or like even one person can do that. I believe in that. I think that is a very that's a very accurate statement, even though like the universe wants to like kind of make it out so that like you can't really make a difference, so stop trying kind of thing. I don't think that's true. I think what Milo was saying was very true. Even when he was talking to 4 later and he's like, you don't really actually believe that, do you? And he's like, well, not really, but like he was trying to kind of like be nice to 5 because she's so naive and whatever. But I actually do believe in what he was saying. So I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Was it Nina? Was it you, or was it somebody in the chat who was shipping 5 and Milo?
It wasn't me.
Wasn't you?
It is one of mine.
Well,
We
it
know
is
that
you.
one.
Okay.
No, I was shipping Nurse Boy, Devin, and 5 because I thought
Yeah,
they might hit it off. Well, I know she was crushing on him, but Devin is
wasn't.
so clueless because he's on drugs that he doesn't know what's going on.
Missing a golden opportunity.
By the way, did you guys wasn't it nice when, and I'm trying to find the picture here, wasn't it nice when 6 and 3 get back to the ship and 3 is like, I'm open to giving you a chance or something. I forget exactly his words. Like he's open to giving 6 a chance to redeem himself. I thought that was nice.
I think that's the only way that would feel natural for 3 to accept 6 back into the group. Like, it's not a complete forgiveness, but it's not a complete shunt either. Like, you can have your chance. 3's turning into the dad of the group, it feels like.
Yeah, does it feel that way?
I don't know. For me, kind of, because it seems like he's the one who always gets into like the fun and the action and the trouble, and then 2's like, okay, you need to come on, and then they're both overlooking and making sure 5's okay. And the 6 is like the weird uncle. The android, I guess, is like the pet. I don't know.
6 is the weird uncle.
I feel like 6 could be a weird uncle.
It's funny. It's funny you should say that because I've often spoken about the fact that I see sci-fi, really good sci-fi, always thematically centers around family. So the crew of the Enterprise, Team SG-1, the crew of the Raza, but also the crew of the Destiny in the Universe. So much so that in the final episode, if you watch Universe, in the final episode, there's a scene where the characters all sit around the table and talk about how they are very much like a family. And Eli says, Rush is like the crazy uncle. So That made me think of that very much.
There's
So.
That's right.
always a crazy uncle, isn't there?
Joe, you had an amazing cast for SGU. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They were just top notch through and through. Even like the secondary characters were so great, like Patrick Gilmore, Peter Galamis, that they ended up growing as characters just because their performances were so amazing.
And I thought it was fascinating that you brought like some big names back, like Lou Diamond Phillips, and it was just a very interesting group of people. Wow.
Yeah. It's unbelievable that show only ran 2 seasons. When I look back,
It is absolutely. Yeah. #bring back SGU.
Yeah.
There you go. Watch all these shows get picked up at once, and Joe, you will just be swamped.
I still have to watch it. It's so embarrassing.
Oh my gosh. It's going to be the
it.
reverse. Like when we do the Stargate universe,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be the one watching it week to week.
Well, I've seen Stargate.
Oh, sorry, Stargate universe. What did I say? Star Wars universe. Stargate. Universe.
But I've seen Stargate, like the original
SG1.
like SG1, yeah. Up to when the Asgardians come, and then I was like, okay, I'm out. And then
It gets really good in season 4, though.
I was just like, I was out. I didn't like those creepy gray aliens. I was like, I'm out.
You're still better than me.
She has
I haven't
latent
seen any of
memories.
it.
Oh,
It's
you're
weird.
missing out, Nina.
I'm
We
weird.
gotta
I know.
talk.
I have to start watching it again, like from the beginning, though, because I'm like, okay, now I gotta like,
You've forgotten everything.
I'll join you on
I
that
haven't
journey.
forgotten everything, but you want to get to know the characters again, and you want to get invested, and it's different when you like.
Yeah, but
admit.
it's tough though. I think all shows start off a little rocky, relatively speaking. Like in comparison, sort of once they get into a groove and you get to know the characters, you get to know the kind of storytelling, the writers, production gets comfortable, then things start to click. But in the beginning, it's kind of a feeling out process. So early on, not everything will land.
Yeah, and then the other thing is like I've been told so many times like Stargate Atlantis is like really really good, and I never watched it because I just never gotten back into excuse me Stargate, but now I want to because I know you now, and I'm like I want to just watch all of this and know what you guys are talking about.
I want more.
Joe, I'm just throwing this out there, Joe. Katie's right about the right age to be one of these orphan children who grew up with 5.
My mom's watching this stream. She'll love that.
And John Burns, thank you so much, John Burns, for your generosity and your participation. I'll have to talk about these addiction centers for WoW. As a friend of mine keeps mentioning, I love playing WoW, but I cannot stop but I can stop anytime. Well, thank you, John.
Glad to know you're good.
Actually, it's funny because not World of Warcraft for me, but I did get addicted to MMORPGs like a long time ago I've gone through that addicted phase of being addicted to video games, especially MMOs. That's why I don't play MMOs anymore. So everyone's like, I love video games and I'll always play video games, but I don't play MMORPGs. It's just something I just do not do. It has to have an ending for me, just like in the TV series. Then I'll play it.
Thank you again, John. And we put up the image here of thank you, John Burns. We put up the image of Milo.
I was so sad.
He did a good job of holding still too. You can't see him.
Yeah.
I always watch for that in movies and television.
That's gotta be hard. Like just thinking about, I would get psyched out. I'd be like, okay, am I breathing too much? Am I breathing too little? Oh crap, I haven't been breathing at all. Like, how did they not do that?
Joe, how many takes would a scene like this do?
I mean, you shoot your various angles. I mean, you do your master, and then you do your close-ups. this was a Bruce McDonald episode, so he tends to be kind of sparing in his shots, to the point where basically sometimes, you know, I won't be on set and be like, I need you to get one more angle, because Bruce kind of always, you know, as he's very much kind of auteur, so rather than just kind of direct the episode, he's kind of thinking about the cut pattern, like basically, will he need this angle, will he need that angle? So, you know, again, it really depends on the director.
Okay. Joe, very important question from Joseph Went. What do you think about Mass Effect's Miranda's booty being censored?
I don't know anything about it, but I'm against it.
Oh,
right on, Joe. Right on. Also, Nate said something great, which I agree with his statement. Said, Joseph, I have to disagree with that statement because I don't feel like Dark Matter had a rocky start. And he's totally right. Dark Matter was perfect.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, to be honest, as I watch the episodes, there are always instances where I'm like, I wish that would have been different. I should have done that differently. And I'm noticing that as the show goes on, I'm doing that a lot less.
Huh.
So again, I said relatively speaking.
Right.
So, I mean, for me, in comparison to sort of as things progress on the show.
Well, also as a writer and an artist and stuff like that, like you are your own worst critic, right? So I feel like you might see things that other people would definitely not see.
Yeah, even in this episode, I think there were like 2 instances where I was like, I wish I had been on set for that. Or
I almost want to know what they were. Really bad.
I'll tell you. The first one is when 2 pushes Milo to the ground and she's going to shoot him. And then basically, you know, they're like, you're not going to do it. And then she pulls him up and she says, I'm sorry, you know, I wasn't going to shoot you. I just wanted to let him think I would. I would have thrown that dialogue out in retrospect. I don't think it needed it. I thought it over-explains. There's nothing I hate more than over-explaining something. I think the subtlety or even basically just leave it vague and you wonder, you know, would she have done it or would she have not done it? The second one was with relation to how that final exchange between 4 and Milo, the scene ends. Like there's in the original scene, or in the initial scene between them, he leaves the apple, the knife and the apple, and I thought that was very subtle, but you know, does a nice job of setting things up. I would have loved to have played the scene, the final scene between the 2, where I forget what the exact exchange is, but you know, Miles like, well, you know, there is no other choice, and 4 says maybe there is, and it's just a small thing. But we stay on Milo, or is it 4, just like a beat too long to really hammer home the point. And I'd rather we didn't. I'd rather basically it was almost like a throwaway, so you don't really know what he's referring to, and then kind of it pays off when you see. Yeah. So they're kind of small things, but for me, you know, I kind of like the subtlety of leaving things vague, of letting the audience work a little to figure things out.
You know what's weird? I'm sorry, PJ. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Nina.
I was going to say, you know what's weird is I actually agree with you about that line with that 2 said, because I was like, that line, I don't know. Like it almost like it felt like even too long, maybe. Like if she had said something like, yeah, they called my bluff, like, you know, or like that's it, you know, like, or like not even say anything, like, it would have been better. I agree.
See, this is where for me personally, consider this a master class on how to assemble a story, because, you know, I've talked with Joe before that there's times when you debate on how intelligent do you assume your audience is, and he's master at this. You always assume a lot of people will get it. You always assume some people will get it a little bit later, and then some people will never get it. And you cannot play to the people who will never get it.
Right.
And that was a good scene and a good example of, you know what, assume the people are intelligent and go with it.
But this is kind of the issue. Sometimes when you're dealing with network notes, they want everybody to get it. And so that's, that's always a kind of a big struggle.
I'm really hoping with shows like The Mandalorian and WandaVision, like being such successes, that it'll maybe change the corporate mindset of, okay, we don't have to explain everything. People have the internet; they know what to Google. Like, I think that's going to be a big help, hopefully, in the future, so that we can get away from this explaining of everything.
Or just, don't tell the audience everything. Let them find out eventually.
Yeah, it doesn't all need to be resolved in one episode.
Yes.
You can just drag out our heartstrings and then just cut them at any point in time.
And at the end of the episode, this is the second last image I have. We have there's more bonding time. Of course, Nyx doesn't know that. I don't think she does, right, Joe? She doesn't know that.
That is correct. She does not know. In fact, actually, that's why it's ironic that she thanks for taking the time to talk to Milo.
Yeah. And the last image we have is of Tu. And she is having that, she's drinking and she's having that moment where, well, we can't say because Katie.
Yes.
Something's wrong with her.
Her hand's like shaking.
Yeah. And she drops the water. Or
maybe it's just cold in that room.
Nah, that wasn't.
It can't be that simple, right?
The byproduct of eating icicles.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
immediately I was like, something's wrong with her nanites.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, okay, they're gonna have to go and find Will Wheaton again and get a patch or something.
Get a patch update.
I don't know.
Oh, that's funny.
And
It can't be that easy.
Joe, were you going to say something about this image?
No.
Okay.
Basically, it's we're setting up something for a future episode.
Okay.
Okay. And War Dog
Making me
Hive from our seventh rule family. Thank you. No question. Just wanted to support. Thank you, War Dog Hive. Thank you for the support. And thank you. You're a good friend. Thank you, War Dog Hive. Thank you for that. And John Burns, I love John Billingsley saying to Patrick McKenna on Stargate, "We're so doomed. We should be wearing red shirts." And the response, "I never understood that reference." Yes, that was the. I forget the title of that episode. Yeah, listen, Nina, I got to tell you, Joe made me fall in love with Stargate. Some of the writing that Joe did on Stargate is spectacular.
You're too kind. You're too
I'm
kind.
definitely gonna watch it. Definitely.
That's not being kind. That's the reality, Joe. I mean, you added. I don't know what you did, but you added something special to that show.
I think it was pretty special. We had a lot of very talented writers on the show. Brad
and Paul Molly, of course.
Paul and Martin Garrow and Carl Binder, Alan McCullough.
And let me just wrap up really quick the super chats before we wrap up. Thank you, Tyrone Beard. You saw my message, didn't you, Tyrone? Congrats on 5K. Thank you. At first, I did not like that Milo was able to use the Apple that forgave him the facility. I mean, that forgave him in the facility. I mean, where here was the precog? Well, I mean, I guess that the guy running the ship, he precogged, but it was too late, right?
Yeah.
Well, I took it as more like when you're too egotistical, like you think like you know it all, and you just there's just certain things that you just don't expect, and I think that's something that he really didn't expect, that this dude would want to kill himself. Because killing yourself is pretty extreme.
Yeah.
So,
That's good. I like
Precognition
that.
only goes so far when you're dealing with humans, because there's always the human element, which is the unpredictable element.
exactly.
When I was in college, I had this great friend in the meteorology program, and he thought he had everyone like pegged. He knew everyone what they were going to do next. And then he met me, and the greatest compliment he could have ever given me on graduation day was, "Katie, you are predictably unpredictable." And that's all I could think of in this episode was, they wouldn't know what I was going to do.
Thank you, Tyrone. And let me just finish getting through these. There are already comments on YouTube videos of Resident Alien, and not all of them are mine, remarking how nice it's such a good show and Sci-Fi Channel. It's already about to be canceled? Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
See, this is why I didn't start watching it, because I know Sci-Fi freaking cancels everything. It really pisses
How can it be already about to be canceled? They've done their 4th episode.
Yeah, I think they're toying with the audience. Yeah, John Burns, thank you so much. Really, thank you. And you're absolutely right. There's a lot of really good talk. Have you seen that, Joe? Resident Alien?
I have not.
Yeah, I want to check that out. Has anybody seen it here?
No.
But I've heard really good things from a lot of people.
Yeah, it's on my list. Tyrone, let me just get through these real quick. But then I imagined it was actually a throwback to when Milo was telling Five that not everything is fixed, and one person could change anything. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Tyrone, and we'll see if Tyrone and Bionic Belly Button join us one day.
Cool.
They're supposed to join the Bionic Belly Button. Wow.
What a name.
And E. Clay Thomason, thanks for doing the show. You're all great. Thank you, E. Clay.
Aw.
Thank you so much. And thanks to everybody in the chat. And guys, just before we wrap up, I do want to remind everybody that, we're not wrapping up to a full-fledged campaign or anything like that. But, start using Dark Matters. And I put Dark Matter Season 4 as a hashtag, because I think we should aim high. And if we get a miniseries, if Joe gets a miniseries, that's fine. But who knows? Maybe Joe gets, who knows? God knows what happens.
Did you actually email them, or?
And it'll get more fans on the show.
Oh, Nina says, did you actually email them after the last episode, Joe?
Who? The
Netflix.
I did not, because basically if I email now and they say no, then that will be that.
And that's it.
So I would prefer to sort of, see if, put together either a proper presentation or
Get a little bit more hype
put
going.
a little more heat on them.
Yeah.
In the form of,
I hear that.
I think to the audience, everybody who's watching, I think it's important to turn our friends on to Dark Matter, because there's a lot of people out there just starving for good sci-fi, and let them know that it's going to be worth their time to watch it, and it's a great binge watch.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, you know it is. It seems like it would be.
Katie, I feel so bad for you.
This is just a slow form of torture at this point.
Joe, any final words? You want to wrap up anything? Comment anything?
No, I mean, this one was a very different episode, a lot darker. Next week, it's kind of a fun episode. We get some more answers. We delve into yet another mystery. That episode,
Another one?
Yeah. Well, basically, we've been presented with this mystery, and now we're going to get some answers.
Okay.
It includes actually one of my favorite moments of season 2. But that's all I'm going to say. And it's a 5 moment. Actually, there are 2 5 moments I really love. One is actually an ad lib by Jodelle.
Oh, really?
It's a very small one, but I loved it. And the other one is just a scripted scene, again for Jodelle.
Nice.
Cool. I'm going to try and guess which ones they are.
All right. You'll
I
never
probably
guess.
I'll fail.
Well, you'll probably guess the second one. You'll never guess the first one.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you real quick. Any final thoughts on this chapter, Nina?
No. Once again, bonus points for the creativity and the subverting expectations.
Thank you.
Katie? Any final words on this episode?
You better clean up the nurse because I'm losing faith. That's all I got.
Dr. Adega, any final thoughts?
Just I loved the sci aspect of the sci-fi in this a lot, and the cool ship.
The ship's always great.
Awesome. Joe, again, thank you so much. We can't believe we're going through this experience with you. Thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you.
So cool.
Thank you to everybody. Nate, Dee Dee Myers, Captain Trek made it. Luis Sparrow, Jeff Beeler, John Burns. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for all the super chats, guys.
There's that cute
Suji
dog.
Cam.
She's trying to make no. She's trying to get a little cranky now.
I love
Sorry.
those sleepy videos.
Sorry, Suji, we went too long. It's my fault. Susanna, Sarah, thank you, everybody. Everybody who's been in here, everybody who's in here now, everybody who's watching the replay. Share Dark Matter with everybody, guys. Make sure your friends are watching. Thank you, John Burns. Dark Matter rewatch season 4 and 5 season. That's quite a hashtag.
Oh my goodness.
Holy cow.
On that note, thank you, John Burns.
Oh no, did the mic go out again?
What happened with the mic? Oh no,
There it is. Okay.
There it is.
That's
All right.
it.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
The little fluffy paw.